So today I'm going to show you how to paint two of my cute little hens. So if you want to trace down the drawing to join in with me today, you can grab this over on Patreon for free if you're a paid member of my Patreon, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later. But they're fairly simple outlines, and you can of course draw them freehand if you want to give this a go. I'm using just a handful of paints today, so let's just talk about supplies. I'm using 4 colours. These are from the brand Mungyo. The tin looks like this, and there's the branded name there, you can just about see. And I've chosen just 4 colours to paint these beautiful little hens. Just to talk you through them, we have permanent red, ivory black, indigo and yellow ochre. So it's just a handful of colours today, and if you don't have this brand or these colours, please use whichever ones you have. Inevitably we all have different brands and our favourites, and I've chosen to use an inexpensive brand today, but please swatch your colours out to look like this from dark through to light. This makes colour matching really easy, and if you'd like to know how to match your colours with ease, I'll pin a video to the top of your screen so that you can click through, match your colours without any difficulty. Okay, I consider this to be a really simple system for matching colours, but in any event you'll need a red, a black, a dark blue and a kind of buff colour if you want to join in with me. The paper that I'm using is from, this is from Bahong. It's a rough surface, it's a cold pressed. I'm actually using the back of an old painting that I did for Patreon not so long ago. I like to use my, maximise the use of my paper. So I'm actually using it on the quotes wrong side, and I've done my outline as you can see. I've printed this out, just used a pencil to scribble on the back, placed it on top of the paper, got over the outline with a 0.5 mechanical HB pencil. Okay, I have a jug of water, a little pad to dry my brush, and a little mixing palette here, and I'm starting off with a number 6 spotter to mix my colours. So let's make a start. If you haven't painted before, these painting tutorials here on my channel are suitable for all levels, so it doesn't matter if you have never painted or if you're a more accomplished painter, you can still join in with me and paint along and have fun. So when we're looking at the bird, she is actually a black colour, but there are bits of grey and bits of blue, hence the need to paint with indigo as well. We don't want these colours to be strong, and actually thinking about it, yeah, we'll just go with those. So these are going to be a really fun, loose style painting. We're not about accuracy here, and like I said, if you want to grab the outline to trace it down, they are free to my patrons. I'm going to wet this hen with water to begin with. There is a little bit of paint on my brush, so we're going to get a little bit of discoloration. So this method is wet in wet, where we are just applying water to the paper to drop that paint in later on. Okay, the brush is slightly discoloured, as I said, because I've mixed the colours with it, but it doesn't matter because, you know, we're just doing a lovely, relaxing painting today. No stress, no worry. If you enjoyed the intro, I really enjoy doing little bits of filming like that with what's called B-roll. If you like that, let me know in the comments. Some people like it, some people hate it. I'm always really grateful for your feedback. Be kind, you don't need to be, you know, you don't need to be nasty. So just let me know in the comments whether you enjoy that kind of thing, whether you like to know a little bit more about my life as an artist and my, you know, what goes on behind the scenes. I'm actually changing my brush. I do feel that's a little bit too heavy. So I'm going down to my number, this is a number 4, it's a pointed round. Okay, so we're going to start off with the indigo mix. Just going to give that a second to sink in. Now, when you're working wet and wet, one of the key things is to know when to drop in your pigment. If you place your pigment too quickly, it's going to float on the surface of your paper. If you go in too late, then the wet and wet will have to start again. You'll have to wet the paper. It's just knowing that sort of stage when to drop it in. So we're just going to put a little bit of this colour here. This is the indigo. Indigo on the Mungyo paints is leaning Payne's grey. So if you've got a Payne's grey colour, then do use that instead. Okay, so we're just going to pop that on. Like I said, these are just kind of abstracted, loose style paintings of the girls. We call them the girls because they are, you know, they're our family. If you're a hen lover, a chicken lover, say hi in the comments. I'd love to meet fellow chicken lovers. We are new chicken owners. We've only had them a short time, about 5 weeks, 6 weeks at the time of filming. So we're still getting our bearings on how they, you know, their little personalities and all that kind of stuff, and how fun they are. So I've just dropped that in a loose pattern like that. Then I go into the black tone because she's got more black on the top part here. So we're just going to let these blur together. Okay, so this is our Dusty, named after Dusty Springfield. It wasn't a name I've chosen, but she has fluffy feet and it makes her look a little dusty when she's running around. She looks a little bit quite amusing and funny. I'm not going all the way around her head because I want to leave a little bit of an area where I can put a bit of red and other colours. So we're just going to pop that on like that. Going back to the black, and I'm just going to drop it in on one or two of the tail feathers. So this is our first wash, remember, like that. Okay, and we can add definition later on. I'm cleaning my brush, and then with that damp brush, I'm just kind of pulling it into the head area like so. I'm just taking it around her face. Okay, we've also got a little bit of black coming down the leg to begin with there, like that. That's our first wash. And over here to our Miss Kate. Now Kate is a white bird. She's actually a blue speck, I think. So because she's white, essentially she's a grey bird. So we're going to be taking water all over here and up and around. So you can join in with me today no matter what level you're at. So we're learning to paint as we paint. That's my kind of tagline, learning to paint as you paint. So I'm teaching you methods and paint application as you work through the painting. So we're just going to let that sink in a moment, making sure that I'm nicely focused. So while I'm waiting for this water to settle in, let me tell you a little bit about Patreon. So if you are a paid member, you'll get, where applicable, where we use them, these free outlines. Over on Patreon, we are a botanical painting tutorial class where we upload every month a brand new full-length tutorial on how to paint botanicals and help you to become a better artist, as well as one-on-one time with me depending on your membership level. If you like the idea of having tuition one-on-one with me, then that will be the Rose membership that you need. Every month I will create a brand new full-length tutorial that will be free of all the pesky ads that you see here on this channel. And of course they are exclusive to my patrons. You won't find anything on Patreon that we have here on YouTube. Indeed, all of our YouTube channel tutorials are completely free. In case that's something that's of interest to you and you'd like to join up and support my channel, then let's just take a little look to see what you get. If you enjoy my watercolour tutorials here on YouTube, then you're going to love what's waiting for you over on my Patreon. By joining, you'll unlock exclusive content that you won't find anywhere else, packed with tips, techniques and inspiration to help you become a more confident artist. I've created 3 membership tiers so that you can choose the one that fits you best, our Clematis being the most popular, offering all my monthly watercolour tutorials, no matter what level you're at. But if you're serious about improving your painting, our Rose tier is perfect for you because this mentorship level gives you one-on-one video calls with me where we can chat about your progress and troubleshoot any challenges to explore new ways to elevate your art. Finding content on Patreon is super easy now. The Collections tab keeps everything organised by theme or subject, and the handy search bar makes it easy to find exactly what you're looking for. So if you're ready to unlock your creative potential, build your skills and connect with a supportive community, join me on Patreon today. Okay, so you can leave and join at any time, and remember to take advantage of the annual membership to save yourself a little bit of money if that's what you like to join us and, like I said, learn to paint and hopefully improve as an artist. Okay, so I'm just taking both of these colours now, and because our Kate has a little bit of a darker colour on the head, we can gently work around this area like so. Just using that patting motion like that. Now the rest of her feathers are pretty much white, but we need to add grey to give it tonal contrast. We're just going to pop this on to begin with. This is just drying a little bit untidily, so I'm just going to pull that in. So we've got a bit of grey and a bit of black there. The grey, of course, is the, it's the indigo. Okay, like I said, there's nothing to stop you from drawing this freehand. It's a fairly simple outline, so I'm just going to do some sort of flicky motion to give the idea of some feathers. And we need to start building this up later. So we're just going to put a few drops here and there. And down here. So very light washes on Kate. Just a few little lines to give a bit of definition, and then we're just going to let that settle in. Okay. So just to reiterate, the Patreon tutorials, if you decide to join us, you won't find here on YouTube. You don't have to join Patreon, obviously, it goes without saying, because our tutorials here on YouTube are completely free. I just want to reiterate that in case there's any misunderstanding. Okay, so we're just going to drop in a little bit more of the black, and then we're just going to let this dry before we can add more detail, because this one needs a lot more colour because she's a very, very dark coloured bird. Just going to go back to the black colour here actually while I'm waiting for that to settle in a little bit. Plenty of black there, and we're going to mix in with that a tiny bit of the indigo because I don't want it to be too black, if that makes sense. Just picking up a little bit of that colour, and then I'm going to go around her head like this while the paint is still damp. Just paying attention to this area. You can see how that's blurring into the paper because the paint is still damp. One of the beautiful ways that wet and wet works really well is that it gives you this lovely kind of blurred effect, like so. We're not going to put too much detail in at this point, but we're just going to have a little bit of fun playing around with paint and seeing where it takes us. If you haven't subscribed to my channel and you like this kind of content, follow me, subscribe, enjoy painting along with us here. We've also got our very own private Facebook group called The Wonders of Watercolour, and we'd love to see you there. If just pop over and I'll put the link in the description, as well as I think it's they'll put the link in the description and you can check us out. Just go over. We need you to answer the usual questions for Facebook, which is standard practice, and my team over there will look after you and give you some feedback, as well as me. I will say hi and give you my comments on your work if that's what you want me to do. And it's headed up by our lovely Rose Adele, and our lovely Claire, so do pop over and say hi there. So you can see I'm just adding like a few details here and there on our dusty, and I'm going to let that settle in. We need to add the reds and all the detail, but we can come back and do that in a minute. So we're just going to let that blur. Like I said, these are just fun, little easy paintings, and we can put some detail in a bit later. Okay, so those are our first layers. Now, if you are new to watercolour, it's all about building up layers and letting them dry, and then applying the next one and the next one and the next one. Okay, so these are going to be a really fun little project to do. One of these, what I call stress-free projects. We're all about relaxed painting here on my channel. So I'm going to let this dry, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, so here we are. These are completely dry now. So this is a good time to start adding a little bit of detail to our birds. So I've cleaned down my palette. I'm just going to add a couple of drops of water, and I've switched down to my number 4 silver line brush, which is going to give me a little bit more detail. So you want to be using a brush that's got a decent point, but nothing too fussy. All right, so we're just going to grab a little bit of permanent red, or any reddy pinky tone that you have. You want to look at this one first of all. So we're going to grab a little bit of that red colour, and we're going to start going over these parts here and a little bit of her face. So these are called the crown and the wattle. For all my fellow hen keepers, you'll know what that's called. So we're going to go on the comb Just using the tip of the brush and the point of the brush to get in all the details. These aren't going to be detailed paintings. Remember, these are just learning little practice pieces. So we're going to go on the comb first and then on this little part here to get that, just get that in place. So you can see I'm just using circular movements for the brush there. And then there's a kind of area around the eye. Really light touch, just going around like that. And on this little bird here, we have the same on the crown, on the comb, just using a soft, like a wiggly motion. The paper is 100% cotton, so it's really good for, you know, controlling your paint and all that kind of stuff. So we're just going over this with another drop of paint. And of course, again, around the wattle. And again on her face. I'm just patting my brush on my little cloth here, just to go around the eye, like that. Okay, picking up a little bit more red. So the idea here is we're just adding a darker value red this time. So we're adding more pigment to that mix to make it a thicker consistency. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you. Going over to bird number 1 again, and this time we're just dropping in a darker value on the base, just to give a little bit of contrast there. And at the top, I'm just going to add that to that one part. So we've got a slightly pinker tone underneath, and the same on here. Just going to go on the bottom with the darker value, and we're going to add a little bit of the darker value to the top. Cleaning my brush, taking off the excess water on my little cloth there, and then we're just going to pat that into the existing colour to give that varied wash. It just gives it a little bit of interest, and it makes the bird look less flat. Really easy to do. So remember, these little practice pieces are such fun to do. So if you are enjoying them, please would you mind giving me a like below? I'd really appreciate your support. It just takes a second if you're enjoying my video, of course. Okay. I'm going to go to yellow ochre now. I have a little puddle of yellow ochre. And we're going to add this to 2 areas. I'm going to just add this to the legs here, although this little bird, her legs are actually a different colour, but we'll go with this just to make her look a little bit more hen-like. This is our bird called Dusty, and her legs are actually grey, but you know, we're just going to put this colour on for today. So we're going to put this on the legs all over, and the beak. Just a starting colour there. I'm going to wipe this down, and then I'm going to go back to the 2 original colours that I mixed up. We have indigo, and we're going to have the ivory black. Okay, remember these paints are from Mungyo. Now, if you haven't come across the brand before, I bought these from Amazon. Actually, I didn't buy them. They were gifted to me from a student, I believe, some years ago. But they are available, I think, on Amazon. If you haven't used them before and you're new to watercolour painting, they are what I call a really great beginner brand, okay? I don't know anything about the light fastness of them or anything like that, but I can say the colour payoff for them is second to none. I have used these paints on and off throughout my teachings here on YouTube, and I can say that I haven't found any difficulty or any problems with the light fastness of them, but you know, if you're going to be painting to give as gifts and all that, then it's something you might want to consider. But they're very affordable and they're very good value for money. I'm going to go back over this little hen. I'm not going over the head with just water again. Again, not everywhere, just on the body like that. And we're going to do the same on this little lady over here. Again, not everywhere. So I just want to add some colour here and there. I've used my number 8 brush for that because I just feel I need to cover a larger area. And then I'm just going to kind of pick up both of these colours, and then I'm just going to drop it in like this. We don't want her to look a coloured hen. We want her to look as if she's just got her little splashes on, which she has. As we hit the head, this is going to be dry, so we're going to go in a little heavier and just create these little flicks of colour around her face and the eye as well. Okay, so she's a white hen, so we're just adding a little bit of contrast. So picking up these two colours and just dropping in a few bits like so. Where we've got the wing, we can kind of go around that like so to give her that lovely fluffy look. When we hit the tail, again, picking up the colours, the tail is dry, so we're just going to add this. Is not going to blur on this area because we haven't applied water. So you're going to get that blurry look just where you've applied the water. Okay, just give her a little bit of a... So these are great little exercises to practice your watercolour skills and your watercolour blending and create little paintings. Why not? And I think we can go around here as well just to give her a little bit more contrast. And her legs, got a little bit of colour up here. And on this girl, again, we're going to go back over and drop in some colour just to give her a bit more of a boost of colour, and on her legs. I'm going to go back to a thicker value, a darker value of black and a darker value of indigo, kind of mixing them together sort of randomly. So you can see now we've got a black hen and a white hen, and where we've got this, I don't know what you call this part of the hen, but it's very fluffy. It reminds me of the Swan Lake ballerinas, where you see their fluffy tutus. I think it looks very funny, and she's very cute. If you are a hen keeper, let me know in the comments your experience of keeping hens, because, like I said, we are new to this, and I have to say, I'm absolutely loving the experience. I didn't see myself as a hen person, and I certainly didn't see myself as a hen keeper. So we're going over the legs here. And it's something I'm really, really enjoying, and I absolutely love them dearly, to the point where I would say it's been a life-changing experience for me, because we haven't had pets for such a long time, and I'd forgotten the joy that they bring. Even these little birds you think are, just hens, or some people just say livestock, but honestly, they are a family and we love them. So let me know if you're a hen keeper, your experience of keeping what it's like. So we're just going to go over the wing here. The paper is still damp, so just to give a little bit of definition, this little bird has a lot of luminosity in her feathers, and in the sunlight you can see all these different colours. We're not going to put that in, but we're just going to make her look as if she's kind of shiny. We don't want her to be a black coloured bird as such, because we do want to have that level of luminosity. So again, going over what's left on the brush, going into the face, picking up a little bit of black, and now we can go around this bit here because this is dry. So we're filling in the gaps now because she doesn't have any white here as the other bird. Okay, what's left on the brush, I'm just going to go on the beak here, and her eye, and a little bit of that pinky tone around there. And I do feel we need a little bit more pink. So by pink, I mean the watered down red, okay? So if you're thinking of a pink tone, you need to water down your red paint, which is going to give you pink. And I think I'll just blur that in like so. Okay, so adding a little bit more of Naples yellow just to add a bit of strength to the feet. Now on the line drawing I've put some grass or a little bit of grounding. I haven't put green paint in here because I just wanted to make it quite monochromatic, but what we can do is make it, if you want to add green and you're joining in with me, please go ahead and do that. I'm going to pick up a little bit more of this watered down red and add it to this area because I think she's looking a bit too light. And so I'm going to go back to my number 8 brush, and I'm going to add water to the base so that we've got a bit of grounding. Okay, I'm going to make it monochromatic, as in I'm not going to add any greenery, but you can do if you want to. But like I said, we're just using 4 paints today. So mixing this up, black and blue. I mean, let's maybe add a little bit of the Naples yellow to that as well, to make it a kind of greeny tone, because of course because indigo is blue and we're adding a yellow tone, it's going to go this kind of greeny, I don't know, strange kind of colour, but it's okay. I'm just going to put this on the base to have a grassy tone, and just pull up a few lines. Just let it do its thing. Flick up your paint. Keep a little bit of it and mix. You've got that variation. Side. They're so strong, these colours. You're going to get a lot of colour payoff. So you can just put that on and let it blur into the water. That's the beauty of watercolour. You're just letting it blur into that damp paper to make it look as if they're grounded. And that's it, really. I'm going to call this finished because, you know, we're meant to be doing a nice easy peasy tutorial today. Remember, if you are a member of my Patreon, a paid member that is, you can go and grab the line drawing over there. You can join Patreon for free, by the way. I need to mention that we have got hundreds of free outlines over there for you to use. You can join for free, have a look around. You'll see a collections notice, a collections folder over there saying YouTube line drawings or something like that. And you just click on that and you can grab the line drawings for over 200 of our, I think, or so of our YouTube videos for free. So you don't have to be a paid member to benefit from joining. But as of, I think, September this year, we've been just given the outlines to our, moving from that point or onwards to our paid members. But there are hundreds that you can grab for free to join in with us here. So if you go over to that collections tab, you'll see the outlines. They'll be marked free and you'll have access to that if you're not a paid member, and there will be the link, or should be the link, to that particular YouTube video. So you can go over, grab the outline, trace it down in the way that I've done today, click on that YouTube video link, and you can have the free outline and the free tutorial. So you're learning to paint for nothing, so that's no bad thing, is it? So here we go. Here's our finished painting. I've really enjoyed showing you my new pets and how lovely they are. I know her little foot is floating in thin air. Look, this is just a tutorial and I'm showing you techniques. So don't come for me in the comments saying that she's just balancing in nowhere. I know. We're just painting. We're having fun. It's fine. So let me know if you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you've got any questions, please let me know. And like I said, if you're a fellow hen keeper, please let me know in the comments what your experience of it is, and did you enjoy it? Are you enjoying it as much as I am? And, you know, they've all got their own little personalities, which I absolutely love. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to hit the like button underneath if you've enjoyed this tutorial, and of course I would appreciate you subscribing to my channel, because of course every week I provide you with free tutorials, different types of tutorials every week, and you know, I'd love to see you here. So thank you so much for joining me. My name is Ray Campbell, and let's just take a moment to appreciate the finished painting.